Alright, big dog, it's time for another recap. Episode 24, full recap from start to finish. If you haven't watched yet, save this and come back after you watch. Last night left off with Amora and Carl joining the villa. This episode starts with the girls sitting with Amora, getting to know her, and the guys sitting with Carl, getting to know him. The girls are asking Anaya how she feels about Carl being back, and she's like, honestly, we had such a good connection. I'm so glad he's back. And the guys are asking how Carl feels about being back, about his connection with Anaya, and he's like, I definitely want to see where that goes, but my walls are up. And KC is paying extra attention to this entire thing, eating all of it up, because the moment he hears that Carl is open to Anaya again, he says, I'm ecstatic. Carl is back and Anaya can get off my dick. Get this fucking man off my screen. The guys are asking Sincere how he feels about Amora being back, and he's like, honestly, I'm just gonna go into this really cautious. And they're like, you better not be making 2 breakfasts in the morning. He's like, no, I'm never gonna do that again. He means he wants to be cautious because he got Melanie back and he doesn't want a repeat of what happened with him in Seoul. They ask Amora how she feels about being in the villa. She said she's really excited, but there's definitely conversations that she needs to have. She wants to have a conversation with Sincere, and she wants to have a conversation with Melanie. She says it to Melanie. She starts talking about how all the guys were in the villa, how Bryce was really great and Zach was amazing. And so of course Kate is like, oh, tell me about how he was in Casa. And she starts to be like, well, you know, he wasn't as bad as KC, but then TT pulls her in the middle of all of this, interrupts, pulls her for a chat. So now Kate is in her head and she's like, what the fuck was that all about? And Trinity is like, oh, don't worry, like she was saying that he was being really good in the challenge. And she's like, no, she was gonna say more than that, but then she got pulled for a chat. So her mind is running now and she's very annoyed about this entire thing. TT pulls Amora for a private conversation and says, girl, the Sincere that we knew at Casa is not the Sincere that I've seen here. He is a completely different person. She tells her he's downplaying your guys' relationship. He's acting like you didn't mean shit to him. And Amora is rightfully upset about that because we saw how he was acting with her at Casa, and now he's coming back over here and acting like they were nothing to each other. Carl pulls Anaya for a chat in front of the girl, and while they're sneaking off to have a conversation, everyone is clapping. They're so excited for them. The girls are so happy for her. The boys are also excited and clapping, and fuck ass KC says, oh, you got a lot of explaining to do. Whew, as in like he's so relieved that she's off his back. And I just want you guys to know I try to be neutral as much as possible, but I block fuck ass men every single day for being team KC and saying hateful shit about women. Anyway, Carlin and I are finally having a conversation. She says she's so excited to see him back and that she's so incredibly sorry for what happened. She asks that hopefully one day he can forgive her and that they can continue them exploring each other. And he says that he's also happy to be back. He will absolutely want to explore, but walls are up and his guard is up because he's heard about what happened. Amora pulls Sincere for a conversation. At first, he didn't even want to talk to her. She had to be like, it'll take 2 seconds. Let's go. Let's talk. And she tells him exactly what TT said. And she was like, this is very hurtful because I felt like we had a real connection and you made me feel like I was some hall pass for the Melanie and Sincere show. And he says, no, you were not a hall pass. I'm sorry if I made you feel that way. It's just my connection with Melanie is much stronger. And even though he says, I'm glad that you're here in the villa, he keeps it pretty platonic, and he's like, I hope that you have a great time here. I hope you explore connections, and that's pretty much it. He asks for a hug, and when they go to hug, he goes, all right, big dog, and she goes, big dog is crazy, but okay. But yeah, he says in his confessionals he does not want to explore Amora. Jen has a very frank conversation with Gaul and says, I find you so attractive, I'm really into you, but I feel like you are not into me. You never compliment me, you never touch me, you never make me feel wanted. And he's like, I'm really sorry you feel that way. That's just not who I am. Like, I'm not a touchy-feely person. Like, I just don't like PDA. Like, I'm not that type of person. And he's like, that's not true at all. Like, I do like you, and goes to kiss her, but then blocks their kiss with a pillow so no one can see. It's giving, I'm embarrassed to kiss you in public. Sincere goes to tell Melanie about his conversation with Amora. And this shit is so tiring. It's the same conversation over and over again. Like, you can tell she's crying. She has tear stains on her face. Kate and Zach are talking. Remember, she's annoyed that she feels that there's more to this entire thing with Zach at Casa. And he's trying to reassure her and said, listen, like, I choose you. At the end of the day, if I wanted to bring her back, I would have brought her back. Actually, no, that's not the truth, Ellen. She wasn't there as an option for you to bring back because she was pulled out of Casa for being a racist. I don't know why any of them are not talking about this, even though it's really important context. Random but not important, Parmita and Corbin shower together. Caleb checks in with Anaya and asks if she has written off Casey, and she was like, yeah, actually, fuck Casey. Then Carl asks Amora what she wants for breakfast because he's gonna make it for her. I was like, whoa, 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 what happened with Anaya? But it's the next morning and Carl makes breakfast for Anaya and Amora. He brings Anaya hers first. And let's not forget, in the After Sun episode, Carl said Amora is very beautiful and he finds her very attractive. So now that she's not on the Sincere train, that might be something too. Zach is annoyed that Amora is back and blowing up his spot. Meanwhile, Bryce wants to make things official with Trinity. They get a text and Trinity and Bryce gets to go on a solo date. Everyone is so excited for them. Everyone is screaming. They look super cute in their matching hot girl swimwear. They're going jet skiing together. Bryce says there's no other person I'd rather be out here with. They're on a boat drinking champagne. They're talking about how they want to introduce each other to each other's families. And Bryce says, I would really like to establish this with you. Will you be my girlfriend? And Trinity says yes, and now they're official. And I'm gonna be honest, I cried during this part. I had to fix my makeup. Back at the villa, Kenzie is telling Kata that she really likes Dylan, but she's also interested in Gaul. She finds him really attractive, but she needs to see if it's just friendship or more than that. Then Amora and Melanie finally have a chat. Melanie asks Amora what happened at Casa. Amora tells her exactly what Sincere said, that they had a connection, and she's asking Melanie, what did he tell you was the extent of our connection? Melanie said Sincere said that they did have a connection in Casa and that it was strong, but at the end of the day, his connection with Melanie was a lot stronger, and that's why he went with her. Then Melanie asked if they ever did anything sexual, more than just cuddling, and Amora says, no, we never did any of that. We just kissed. Conversation was very civil, and I think it gave Melanie a lot of closure, meaning she can move on with Sincere without having to wonder what he was doing with Amora. And Amora now has closure where she can close off what happened between her and Sincere and move on and find a connection with someone else. Corbin and Parmita are talking. She's like, are you gonna talk with Kenzie? And he was like, yeah, like, how should I do it? He's like asking her for advice. She's encouraging him to have a conversation with Kenzie and apologize. While they had that conversation, they also had the close off conversation where Parmita says, I want things to be closed off, and Corbin wants the exact same thing. So now they are closed off. Corbin pulls Kenzie for a chat to apologize, and he says, look, I'm really sorry. I didn't mean to disrespect you. And he owns up to it, and Kenzie just kind of went off on him. She was angry. She said, you made me feel like me and you had something going on the docks, then you go to Casa, and then you say all these disrespectful things. And he was like, well, what things did you hear? And she said the whole thing about, you know, throwing her under the bus. Oh, she's out the window now. And his whole thing was, look, it was in the heat of the moment. I didn't mean to say it like that. I'm sorry it hurt your feelings, but at the end of the day, I found someone that I found a really strong connection with. And I'm not trying to defend him, but he didn't even have to do all this. He genuinely tried to have a conversation. She kept shutting him down, and she was like, yeah, well, good luck with your connection. Like, I'm all set with this. She gets up and walks away from him. She's all set with this conversation. She wants nothing to do with him. Trinity is back from their date, and so the group separates guys and girls so that they can talk about what happened on the date. And they tell everyone that they are officially boyfriend and girlfriend, and everyone is so excited for them. The excitement was just so cute. Everyone's jumping up and down. They're so happy for them, and it was just so friendship. Later that night, Kenzie and Dylan are talking. He's like, so what's up with you and Gaul? And she's like, well, we haven't really talked in a few days, but like, I still want to see what's happening with that, if it's friendship or if it could be more than that. And he's trying to give her the space to do that, but he's also telling her, like, I really like you. Meanwhile, Gaul and Jen are talking, and Gaul is like, I feel really bad that you picked me and I'm not giving you the things that you need. And while he's saying all these, Jen was like, yeah, like, I'm asking you to explore, like, you can do all these things, I understand. And he feels really annoyed that she's cutting him off, and he feels gaslighted by her. He actually felt that she was being really aggressive towards him, and he was like, you know what, we have really different styles, this is not going to work out, and he breaks things off with her. Casey and Anaya finally chat, and I do feel that Casey was being a coward in this conversation, but I do feel that Anaya said a lot of things that she needed to get off her chest, and I think she did it in a very calm manner. I'm really proud of her conversation. And again, we're seeing such a short little edit, but there were moments where the group was like, oh, they've been talking for a long time, so who knows how long this conversation actually went on for. I believe at one point he asked for a friendship with her, and she's like, listen, I'm so glad that you took accountability, but at this moment I just don't want to be surrounded by you. Like, we can be civil and that's it. Kenzie pulls Gaul for a conversation, and she's just like, I just needed to see what's happening with this, if we're friends or if it could be more than that. Meanwhile, they're over here holding hands, and then they kiss. Oh, interesting, Gaul, I thought you weren't a touchy-feely person. And Dylan has no idea. That's the end of the the episode. If you made it this far, you're a real one. Leave a boat emoji in the comments. I will see you guys tomorrow night with another recap. And they hinted it's going to be movie night. So exciting. Good night.